into command now. So some of you we've done this with, some of you we haven't. If you are able to split your screen and do this with me, that's how you're gonna get the most out of this. So I encourage you to open command and do this with me. So today we're going to create our goals. You're gonna understand your conversion rates. You're gonna know how many appointments you need to set to make a sale. And then you're gonna be able to keep track of your progress. So I'm gonna go over here to command, and I'm gonna go all the way down to this reports button down here. So in this reports button, I'm sure 90% of you are like, I've never even clicked on this reports button. That's okay, that's what we're here for. What's funny is that I have people who come to these and we talk about these at least once a quarter, and they still say, oh, I've never even clicked on that. Don't let this time pass you by. Make sure that you're clicking on this. We're gonna go up to goals up here in the middle. And when we click on goals, you're gonna be able to see this kind of tracker. And whether or not you have it set or not, you're gonna see that tracker. Now, if you scroll down, you can see some of the other things that it tracks for you. And basically, these are the things that we're going to implement, that we're gonna put in right now. So I'm gonna go back up, and what I wanna do is go where it says 2023 goals. I'm gonna drop it down to, and I'm gonna click on 2024 goals and click on that. Now, if you ever wanna change your goals, if you ever want to edit them or adjust them in any way, you come back here and do it in the exact same way. So you're gonna go to add your goal settings, this little plus icon in goal settings, up on the top right, and we're gonna say get started. Let's get started. All right, so if we haven't done this yet, which you can see I haven't done it yet for 2024, everything's gonna be 0. So what we need to do is we need to, if you are in coaching, hopefully you have a Life by Design budget. If you don't, email me and I'll be able to get you a Life by Design budget. But in your Life by Design budget, it's very closely linked to this. But what we're looking at is we wanna think of 2 different budgets. We wanna think of what is the bare minimum that I need to get by, and what is living my life in a fantastic way. Whew, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, I think it went away. So we want to, when you're creating your budget, which we won't do today, what you're doing is you're putting in all of the expenses that you have and all of the expenses that you potentially want to have, meaning you want to have $100,000 in savings. That's gonna be a goal that you have. And whether that's this year or next year, whether that's your like bottom line surviving goal or whether that is your ultimate thriving goal, whatever it is, you wanna come up with those 2 budgets. Now, we can create these goals based on one of those 2 budgets. I would recommend creating it maybe in the middle. So it doesn't really matter what you put in here, but when we go in here, we're saying, what is our 2024 annual profit goals? Most people, most newer agents say, I wanna make $100,000. So we're gonna put in $100,000. But we also have to keep in mind that this does not account for taxes. So we need to put in about 30% more, because that's generally what our tax brackets are. So 30% more than $100,000 is roughly $130,000, right? Now what you're gonna notice is that we're gonna need to make more than $30,000 to actually pocket, more than 130, to actually take home that $130,000 that we want to take home. So when we look at that, we're adding in our expenses and our cost of sales. In general, these are going to be about 30% each. Well, let me tell you the difference. The difference between these, your expenses are things that are essentially fixed. There are things like your cell phone bill, your fees to your brokerage, your office fees, your desk fees, whatever it is, these are the things that are fixed. Maybe you take into consideration your health insurance or different types of insurances you may have. These are your fixed expenses. Cost of sales, on the other hand, only happen when you make a sale. So your cost of sales are going to include transaction fees, your PC coaching fees, your market center splits and things like that. That's what your cost of sales are going to be. They're also going to be different marketing expenses that you only do, like if you do a just sold campaign or just listed campaign, that's cost of sales. It only happens when you have a sale. Your expenses are your fixed expenses. So in general, we say about 30% for each of these. When you are a newer business, you can be a lot leaner on this. You can say, realistically, we're only gonna put 10,000 toward each or whatever you wanna do. I'm gonna stick with 30,000 for each just to show you what we're talking about. So you can see I added in 30,000 and it already moved this far up to 160,000. So I need to bring in 160,000 GCI, gross commission income, to be able to take home 130,000. So let's go to our expenses. I'm gonna put $30,000 in for my expenses also. And again, it just went up again by 30,000. So now we're at 190,000 that we need to bring home to be able to profit, put $130,000 in our pockets. And remember that 130,000 includes taxes. Don't forget about your taxes. Now your business makeup, we always tell you, you focus on listings, and keep in mind that as newer agents, but also in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, a healthy business makeup is 50-50, 50% listings, 50% buyers. So yes, we tell you focus on listings, get listings, listings are what you want, and don't discard the buyers, because a healthy business makeup has both. Especially as we have a shifting market, you don't want to be too heavy in one and not the other, because you're going to miss out on business opportunities as the market shifts. Because right now are we listings heavy? No, we have very, very few listings. So if you said, I'm only gonna be a listings agent, you're going to be missing out on a lot of business. Now, the beauty of focusing on listings is that when you focus on listings, oftentimes you'll also get buyers. So that's why we tell you focus on listings, but we don't want you to not get buyers. So we're gonna say, for the sake of this, we're gonna say 50% buyers, 50% sellers. We're not going to account for leases. Number one, we're not leasing agents. If you're in downtown LA or one of those areas where there are a lot of leases, maybe that's something that you want to incorporate. But in general, as residential real estate agents, we don't want to bank on getting leases, because they're basically just as much work for less money. So that's not going to be our focus. And then our average commission. Average commission is going to be different in every market center. On average, I would say in the market centers, in most of our market centers, aside from probably Tulare County, on average, our commissions are between 15 and 17,000. Some of them are higher, some of them are a little bit lower. In Tulare County, they're lower, they're around 10,000. And your markets are still much healthier than ours, because you have a lot more business and a lot more transactions happening there. So now this is another way for you to consider how you are going to set up your business. There are a lot of agents who, when they take a listing, they say, I charge 6% and 3% goes to the buyer side, 3% goes to the seller side. And you don't have to do that. You can say 3.5% goes to the listing side, because the listing side is doing a lot more of paying out of money. You can say, the listing side is gonna take 3.5, the buyer side is gonna take 2.5, whatever it is that you decide you wanna do with your business. But that's why they've separated these out, because it's not exactly a 50-50 split all the time. What if in your market, average listing is 2.5%, but average buy side is 2%? Well, then your buy side is gonna be lower. So you wanna just think through this and figure out what you wanna do. For the most part, I would say just make it easy on yourself and put it the same. So we're gonna say $15,000 for the buyer and the seller. Oops, 150,000, that'd be nice per unit. So this is your average commission per unit. So for each unit that you sell, on average, you bring home $15,000. Now this is gross. So that's why keep in mind that if your average sale is over $1 million, you're probably going to be bringing home about 20 to 25,000, maybe 20 to 30,000. So that's gross, not including all of the other expenses, because we've already accounted for that here in cost of sales. All right, so now you see that we have all of this, 190,000 estimated GCI, gross commission income. It breaks it down for us to say $10,000 a month is our monthly profit goal. And remember that real estate is cyclical, so it's much heavier in the spring and summer, slows down in the fall and winter. So during those times, the average is $10,000 per month, but maybe in the summer you're going to be making 20, 30, 40,000, and then in the fall you're making like 7,000. So keep that in mind that in real estate you can't say you don't have a W-2 income where you can rely on exactly how much you're getting. All right, we're going to say continue, and here's where we're talking about, here's where we are talking about conversion rates. Now, a lot of you probably don't know your conversion rate. If you do, awesome. But a lot of you probably don't know your conversion rate. What your conversion rate is how likely are you to go from your lead converting to a contract, your contract converting to, does that say contact? Contact. Your contact converting to an appointment set, your appointment set converting to an agreement, your agreements converting to under contract or pending. As newer agents, sometimes our conversion rates are higher. As more seasoned agents, sometimes conversion rates, opposite. As newer agents, sometimes your conversion rates are lower because you're not used to having those conversations to get people to the next step. As seasoned agents, sometimes they're higher. And this is not necessarily true because newer agents oftentimes are really focusing on their SOI. So the conversations they're having are with people who are for sure going to buy and sell. So what Keller Williams has done has said, on average, these are your conversion rates. Once you get down to under contract or pending, 75% of those will close. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at how likely is this to close. The reason you want to do this is because when you figure this out, you're going to have a much better understanding of your profit and how to calculate your profits. And so okay, if I have, from the agreement, if I actually have a 95% conversion rate, then you're going to be able to count on more of that money. But if you say, actually, I have like a 60% conversion rate, then you need to have more transactions to be able to get that GCI up. For our purposes today, we're leaving it as this. If you wanted to change it, you could go up here and say set individually, and you could change it. Right now, if you change it, it changes for the listings, buyers, and leases. But if you said, no, when I do listings, if I go to a listing appointment, I am much more likely to get that listing and to close on that than if I were to a buyer, which is true by and large. That is a true statement. You're much more likely to close on a listing than a buyer who you are talking to. And this changes market to market. So when you are, even as a seasoned agent who's been doing this for a long time, you may go into this and say, this year, because the market has shifted, I'm going to switch back to a different type of conversion rate. I would not focus too much on this. I would say this is in general what the conversion rates are. Let's leave it at this. So now we're going to go to continue. All right, so you can see I've taken a long time to explain all this. You don't need to go through all of that because most of it I just said, just leave it as is. So what we're at is 190,000. This is just reviewing what we've already put in. Now let's go to set our goals. And when we set our goals, it's going to default back to 2023. So we need to put the drop down back to 2024. And come on. Okay, hello.
Maybe
I love when this happens.
So the 190, that's what we have to do annually?
This is based on your individual goals.
Oh.
So if your goal was if you wanted to bring home $130,000, then you would need to gross the total amount 190,000. Okay, and we have a glitch, so that's unfortunate. Let me go to 2023 just to give you an example. And it's showing us that in 2023, it says the annual profit that we put in 2023 was 115,000. So we needed to close 12 transactions. If we need to close 12 transactions, then we need to have 16 under contract. If we want to have 16 under contract, then we need to have 22 agreements. The reason it's higher as we go down is because of those conversion rates. Because not everybody we're going to meet with is going to sign an agreement. Not everyone who we have an agreement with is going to go under contract. So this is why we have to do more. So if we want to close 12 units, we need to have 38 appointments set. If we want to have 38 appointments set, we need to have 780 contacts. I personally like to stop there because these leads, they take into consideration like online leads and things like that I don't care as much about. Realistically, I care about this number, appointments set. So if I have to set 38 appointments, how many weeks are in a year? 52. If I want to take some time off, maybe I'm saying 40. We're very close to 1 appointment a week, right? So if I just say my focus is 1 appointment a week, that is where it's going to get my goals. We can also change this. If we do the drop down on this year, we can change it to this month and it'll tell us the monthly that we need to do. So again, if we want to close 1 deal a month, 1 transaction a month, because our goal was 12, then we need to set 3 appointments in the month, which essentially is about 1 a week, right? And if we do an extra one, are we sad? I'm not sad. I am happy to set that extra appointment because like I said, we're gonna have time off, we're gonna have weeks off, we're gonna have time when we're on vacation. So we need to make sure that we're kind of offsetting these goals. So 3 goals a week. Once you have that set, if you go home, you'll be able to track that on your dashboard. Oh, this is new. Look, we have our, oh, interesting. This is totally new. I haven't seen this yet. So we have our local area people. So we have Motif Mortgage and Opus Escrow. Oh, cool. And then you can explore preferred partners. Interesting. I love that. Okay, so we have our goals breakdown here. If you want to take a look at that as you go, this is on your, this is going to be on your home screen, and you can customize all of this however you want if you press this customize button. So if yours looks different than mine, it's probably because I've customized mine or changed mine. All right, so let's move along because we gotta go. So what do we do now to win? What's important now? We need to create our goals. Write down your SMART goals for each area of your life. Remember I said take 1 or 2, maybe 3 tops from today and implement that because we've talked about a lot of different things. So here's an idea, create your goals. Create those tiny habits. Establish the tiny habits that move your business forward. What's the one thing? What's that smallest domino that you push? Everything else is gonna get easier. And then number 3, track your habits. Use a habit tracker My personal recommendation is to start using command at a very high level. If you don't use command right now, take this time, take these next 3 months and incorporate a way for you to get good at command. All right, and then you stuck with me to the end, so let's talk about the bonus. I love to read. So if you guys listen to me at all, you'll know that I love to read. My favorite books on goals are, I already told you one, Atomic Habits, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is a really good book to read, and some of these tactics are really good to use in general when talking to people. When talking to any people, clients, your spouse, your parents, anybody. One of my favorite things, and that comes up all the time, is seek first to understand, then to be understood. When we're talking to clients, do you think that they care about what we're saying? No. They care about us understanding them. Our first job needs to be to understand what our clients are saying. That comes straight from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We talked about the one thing. This is a great book. Miracle Morning. There is if you are somebody who struggles with creating habits, or if you're trying to become a morning person, this book is a really good way for you to kind of like outline how to do it and how to get started. There is a Miracle Morning for real estate agents. It's basically the same thing. It's just with a real estate spin on things. And then the 4 tendencies. So let's see. Okay, next week we are talking about open to close, navigating the life of a transaction. So if some of you thought we were talking about that this week, you got to stay tuned for next week. We will be talking about navigating the life of a transaction from open to close. This is going to be super, super helpful and beneficial to you, even if you don't have a transaction currently, because the more you hear about this, the less surprises are going to come up, and then it's not going to be as stressful. I talk to agents all the time who are like super stressed about their first few transactions. Understanding the process will help you so much in this. Well, I hope that helped. And remember, I'm here every Monday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to help you move your business forward. Join me in the weekly workshops where you can come live and get your questions answered in real time. I would love to see you there. Register at the link below. And remember, if you have questions about coaching or want to dive in, or even just want to have a call to me to see how you can grow your business, schedule a call with me in the link below. I'd love to help. In the meantime, if you're getting value out of this, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for staying for the whole thing. Check out the other videos that we have that are sure to move your business forward. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.